Whose fault is the marriage problem? My name is Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation, and I have to tell you that I hate this question because it literally defines how marriages are approached when there's difficulties in a marriage, how they're approached by traditional marriage counselors. And I can't stand it because it's neither of your fault. Now, that's not universally correct, obviously. If, for instance, one of you is a pedophile or one of you is gay and you got married without telling the other, or there was some history that really will impact the marriage and you fail to say something, maybe an acute mental illness or something, okay, in those cases, it is the fault of the individual who held back information. But in most cases, well over 90% of the cases, you can't really put the blame on either of you. And I'm going to explain to you why. There's a really simple explanation. And I'm going to prove to you that the explanation I'm going to give you is the correct one. Here's an umbrella problem, a universal problem that really is neither of your fault. The problem is, in our society, no one has any idea of what marriage is or how to achieve the benefits. So there's two of you who want to learn how to swim. You both jump into the pool and you're thrashing about. You don't know how to swim. It's amazing that anyone survives. Let's begin. Now the proof. Okay? So the answer is neither of you knew how to be married. Now, here's my proof. Why did you get married? Take a second. I'm going to tell you why. I'm not here to torture you. I'm here to help you. But you didn't know why, not really, when you got married. Usually, when I ask people, why did you get married? The default answer is, I fell in love with this other person. They were blah, 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 blah. The other default answers are, wanted to have children, wanted to be with my soulmate. Remember this, soulmate. Wanted to have a companion, didn't want to get old by myself, wanted family, etc., etc., etc. Those are valid answers, but those are sub-answers. The big answer is obvious. You wanted to be happier. That's number one. There's two. Number one, you wanted to be happier. And so you got happier, and it was probably subconscious. You probably never even thought, oh, I'm getting married because I want to be happier. Because if that was in front of you, it would have been like you standing in front of a small mountain. You go, I want to climb to the top. It's a destination. It's clear cut. And so you would know what you needed to know to get to the top. But because you never said to yourself or each other, I'm getting married in order to be happier, there was no plan. You just got married. The second, more important, but it's the second reason for getting married, is you want to experience unconditional love. Who doesn't? Why do you? And what happens in our world of Western psychology is they've taken love away. They talk about it as if it's only an emotion. And love is not just an emotion. Sure, it expresses itself emotionally, but it's not an emotion. It is literally your essence. Remember when I said soulmate a few minutes ago? You wanted to marry your soul mate. That makes you a soul, and it makes them a soul. You are a soul. You have a mind, but you're not the mind. You have a body. You're not a body. You have those. And you use them as instruments. But that's not what you are. What you want to do in your marriage is connect on a very deep level, the level of the soul. And you use the instrumentality of your body and your mind in order to do so. But no one ever told you that. So you jumped into marriage imagining it'll somehow work. I don't even know why people imagine it'll work anymore. The divorce rate is over 50%. And how many people beyond that 50% do you think are happy? I don't know that there's any statistics that you could rely on, but I bet you most are unhappy, even though they don't get a divorce. And now you're probably heading for a divorce, and you're going, whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? When you should be going, how come there's only two of us? We have this problem that we're not happy. We're not experiencing unconditional love. How come the two of us can't solve this? The reason why, it's not your fault. The reason why is because this information is not at our fingertips in society. And worse, the information about marriage that is out there is misinformation. It misguides you. You go to a psychotherapist for your marriage problems, which I really recommend against doing, and they always invariably ask, how's your sex life? Well, I don't care how your sex life is. I've healed thousands of marriages through the Marriage Foundation using our courses. We don't care about the sex life. Sex is a small component. Believe it or not, it's a small component. Because what do you want? You want happiness. You want to experience love. Now, you should learn how to use sex in order to experience love. It's definitely a great vehicle for it, for creating the connection. Because that's what you want, is that connection. It's not your fault. It's not your spouse's fault. But you got to shift your thinking. You got to get into the place of, okay, here we are. It isn't working. Put aside the fault stuff. Our marriage is not working. We're moving towards divorce. Admit it. You're moving towards divorce. And worse than that, the trend is picking up momentum. That's what happens. So you're moving towards a divorce, and you may say, oh no, we're not really talking about divorce. It's just this is not working and that is not working. Bull-ticky. You are moving towards divorce. Because you got to be moving in one direction or the other. You're either moving towards happiness and unconditional love and floating, or you're going in the other direction. There's no middle ground here. And it can't just be, well, we just have this one little problem. No, it can't be that way. Because if you were really moving in the right direction, that one little problem would be like a fly on the windshield. It just wouldn't matter. You wouldn't be reviewing videos and seeking help. So get realistic about this. You're moving towards divorce. There's just two of you. I call it the sacred space of marriage, where you're not supposed to let anyone else in. It's just your marriage. Well, if you know, wait, we want happiness. We want to experience unconditional love. Unfortunately, because those are truisms for sure. You have to acknowledge that. But they're truisms like in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt have no other God before me. Got it. What do you do with it? There's so much more to learn. Now, I used to be a divorce mediator, and I shifted my practice over 20 years ago because I realized I can help people by developing specific principles. I did my research. I studied this thing like crazy. And some of it was really difficult to get at. For instance, why do people get married? You would think it would be an easy answer. But as I was asking people, why do you get married? I always got these mundane responses. I had to look at it differently. And there's a lot of things that go into marriage. There's 3 main parts of marriage. I'm going to give you a hint. Now, I'm giving you all this, but I'm telling you right now, you should probably get the courses. One is for men and one is for women. And the first thing you have to address, well, you got to understand that there's 3 principal parts to a marriage. One is you. One is your spouse, who's a different gender. And the other is marriage itself. To be really successful in marriage, you need to have a deep and fairly complete understanding of each of those. And you don't know yourself. You don't know yourself because you need to learn enough about yourself to understand how the biology of your gender affects your mind, how the drive to survive is different for a man and different for a woman from a biological perspective. You have to understand how the mind operates. In our courses, very first thing we discuss what we learn. Now, I started teaching therapists, 2010, I think it was, or 2011, and my first batch of therapists, and they were hand-selected, were the best of the best in San Diego County. That's where we started out. And the first thing I did was I started teaching them about the mind. And I thought, easy peasy. How could a psychologist not know about the mind, right? Duh. They didn't. I don't know what they knew. They learned things that were incorrect, like Maslow's theory on, I can't remember the term right now, but requirements that we have. And Maslow had the right idea, but he was all wrong. He didn't put it together correctly. So they have all this disinformation. It took them not weeks, but months before they really understood the mind. And I created this cool technique called the SO technique, stop, evaluate, and act with wisdom, so you can control the mind. It opened up vistas to them. It changed their marriages. All of them were married, and it changed their marriages. Psychologists, the best of the best, because they don't know. Our society is lacking. Why? There's some reasons. I don't want to get into it too much because it's kind of not what you came to this video for, but simply put, because Western psychology cannot acknowledge the spiritual other than to call it abstract thinking. So they miss the whole point of marriage, because marriage is based on love. What could be more spiritual than love? It is the most tangible, intangible there is. It's totally intangible. You can't touch it, see it, feel it, smell it, taste it. But man, how could you deny its existence? It's the one thing that you feel, not as an emotion, but you feel it here. It's powerful. So you can't deny its existence. And you especially can't overlook it as being a critical component in your marriage, and that's the marriage. So there's a lot to know. You should not be looking at whose fault the marriage problems are now falling on whose shoulders? You should be saying, how do we get into the place that Paul's talking about? This place of unbelievable feelings of love, harmony, joy, which is happiness. How do we achieve that? Okay, let's forget it. Let's forget the past. Let's forget blaming. How do we go forward? How do you go forward? You got to have the right information. You can't ignore this. You got to have the right information. So I've already shared with you where that information lies. I also wrote 2 books, but I could tell you right now, if you're asking this question, chances are that you're moving towards divorce too rapidly and you need to take the courses. If not, if you're just having some difficulties, the books will be fine. Get one of them and read it to each other at night before you go to bed. I promise you, you'll be blown away. It'll open your eyes. You deserve to have an amazing marriage that is literally better every single day of your life, to where you're so in love, it's better than when you were dating. That's what you're supposed to have. All right. Hopefully this was helpful for you. I really hope you're going to get out of this blaming thing and get into the redoing your marriage thing. And please like this video, leave a comment if you want, share it if you want, and you can subscribe to other videos. I do a lot of these. I really want to be helpful. All right, blessings to you, blessings to your spouse. It's not their fault. It's not your fault. And blessings to your family. And thank you for spending time with me. I really appreciate that. I really do. I enjoy helping people with their marriages. God bless you. Take care.